Okay, so what we need to do today is basically string manipulation. Python has some built-in methods that you can use on string. Those built-in methods, I think I gave them to you earlier. So I'm just going to copy them here. I gave them on the group. If you are not a member of the group, please join the group, right? You can, I'm going to give us the link to join the group. So here again is the link to join the group. I'm going to put it here, and I'm going to, so here, you can leave this here for now, and I'm going to come here and I'm going to insert a cell on top. I'm going to copy the link for you to join the group. So this is the link to join the group, right? If you have not joined the group, I'm also going to send it to the so let's make this a markdown, right? I'm going to do it this way, and I'm also going to send it to on the Zoom chat for everyone. If you have not joined the group, because some information will not be passed across here. So quickly, as I said, when we come here, if you look at this, I want to make this another way to make this cell a markdown using shortcut is when you press escape and M key. Escape and M key. So I've pressed the escape and M key, and it has automatically made this a markdown. So these are all the methods, right? These are all the methods. I could have designed these in a table format, in a kind of a table format, but this is going to waste our time on this. You can design a table on this Jupyter Notebook. That's one of the features of Jupyter Notebook that others Python IDE don't have. But for now, these are just the method and description. So Python, these are the built-in, I'm just going to say built-in, right, methods that Python, I'm going to say Python, let's say Python, right, built-in method that you can use on strings, on string objects. Let's say string object. You don't have to type this. Remember, I copy and paste them on the Instagram, and I think I also put it on the Google Drive, So please, in the Google Drive here, I put it on Google Drive. I think what I'm going to do, I'm just going to say here, I'm going to create a new folder here inside the Google Drive, and I'm going to say section 2, right? And I'm going to say string, right? Python, I'm going to say Python string manipulation, right? So inside the Python string manipulation, right? I'm going to actually, I think I should have actually removed this instead of, so I'm just going to delete this that I just created, right? I'm going to call this, I'm going to rename this, right? So I'm just going to say rename. Should I just press F2? I'm going to say section 2. I'm going to say Python string manipulation. Inside the Python string manipulation, I've put the same thing that I opened here, which I've also sent on the Telegram group. I've put it here. So this is where you will find the source code for this section. Whatever we do in this section, when we finish this section, this is what you will find. So you can just copy them and paste them here, just for understanding sake. So if you look at this, I've given you the explanation of what they do, right? So please take note. I cannot, because of for the sake of our time, I cannot be explaining each and every one of them one after the other. So if you, as you can see, it's about 44. It's about 44 stuff. So basically, what each and every one of them does is self-explanatory. So, but you see, all these have these. The only way in which you can make them is either you number it from here like this, or you just put, you can decide to number it, right? But it's going to take me time to number it. So you can just put one more case here, right? You can just, I mean, one more space, right? In each and every one of them. And then it will not be written in that way. It will not be displayed in that way that it is displayed. Just make sure that there are double space that you put there. So this is more faster than numbering, because you have to be moving your mouse up and down. But when you are working on your own, right, you can do the numbering. I mean proper numbering. So you might see that by the time I actually upload this, I might be very in a good mood and create it as a table for you. So if you run it this way, you could see that it's run this way. This is how you work in Markdown. And as you can see, this is more like a heading. If I make it only one, the smaller I make it, the bigger it becomes, as you can see. So this cannot go beyond 6. That's 7. That's why it did that. It can't go beyond 6, right? And there must be space between the hash key and the text before you can have that features. So I normally do 3 or 4, depending. So when you say, I want to quickly, there are a lot of things you can do with string. String itself, everything in Python is an object. So these are the methods. These are the, these are the methods you can do on strings, right? I've not even telling you how to manipulate, like the operations you can perform. These are the methods that a Python string has. So any Python string, you can perform this method on them. We've not talked about how you can actually perform slicing. I'm still going to be talking about slicing. I'm going to be talking about how to modify your string method. We're still going to be talking about your string concatenation, even though I've done that technically. We're going to be talking about formatting your string, how you want your string to display. And we're still going to be talking about indexing your string, right? It's still part of your string formatting. And we're still going to be talking about the escape character in string, right? But we're going somewhere with this training. I'm teaching a full Python training. And by the end of this class today, I will explain what I've come up with for you and the project we're going to be doing. We're going to be doing about 3 or 4 projects. So this is a long journey, and I'm ready to travel this journey with you. I don't know about you, but I'm committed to this. So let's continue here. If you want to use the capitalize, right? The capitalize string. The capitalize method, like I said, it converts the first character to upper case, right? So if I say, let's say you say name equal, for instance, I'm working on the capitalize. I'm not going to be typing some of those things because I've already given it to you here to save our time. So if I say name equal, right? Let's just say, I'm just going to say, doesn't matter. Let's just say greetings. Let's say greetings because I wanted to write something. It doesn't matter even if I say name. So if I say greetings equal hello, Olalekan Samuel, right? How are you How are you today? How are you today? Right? Say, how are you today? Then, if I say, let's just say, I say caps equal, if I now say greetings, look at this. Remember, this is string, right? This is string. Once you declare this as a string, Python automatically knows that once you assign this value to it, Python automatically knows that this is a string object. All this operation can be performed on it. All this operation, right, can be performed. So here you say, I can now say greetings dot capitalize, as you can see. I just press tab. I press CA and I press tab to give me what I need. I just say capitalize and then I'll do this. Remember, all this has to be at the end, right? This has to be at the end. So if I then say print caps, I say print caps, you see what happened? Remember, if you look at capitalize, this was already, right? Only the first, you could see what I did. There's capital letter here, capital letter here, capital letter here, capital letter here. But what capitalize does is that it only converts, if you look at the description, it only converts the first character to uppercase. Only if I put this as a lowercase, right? If I run it, you could see only the first character that is converted to uppercase. So it returns a string where the first character is in uppercase and every other thing is in lowercase. That's very simple enough, right? And another thing is case fold, right? Case fold. So I've already explained some of these things to you, right? I'm not going to, either I record the video, I'm just going to do random, maybe about like 10 of them. I'm not going to do all of them because of our time. You can just do the same way I'm doing. Everything is already given to you. So if you look at case fold, a case fold basically return a string where all the characters are lowercase. All the characters are lowercase. So look, I'm going to see the same thing. I'm going to come here. I'm just going to come here. I'm going to copy this. I'm going to put it here. And then I'll say here, this capital. I'm going to make this capital, all this capital, all this capital, all this capital, right? And then I'm just going to call this case fold, right? Fold. And here I'm going to say print case fold, right? And here, instead of saying capitalize, I'm going to say here case fold, right? Now run this. You see everything has been converted into lowercase. Somebody might be thinking, okay, where do you use this? Have you ever wondered where you they ask you to put your name online, and then whatever name you put, excuse me, and then whatever name you put, it's automatically converted, whether the lowercase, whether, so if I copy this now, if I copy this now, and I say here, and I say, I make all these lowercase, I'm just going to copy these are all lowercase, right? I'm just going to put it here, and I'm going to say title, for instance, title. There are some that you know offhand. There are some that you not know offhand, that you know what they are doing. So for instance, if I say title equal greetings dot title, and I say title here, what that does is that up each letter, right? As you can see, if you come here, I don't know where the title is. So if I can't find it, I'm just going to leave it, but I know what that does. I can't find it, but if you can find it on your own, you can use it. There we go. It says convert the first character of each word to uppercase, right? So remember, all these are lowercase. So this will be uppercase, 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 this will be uppercase. So if I run it, as you can see, that's basically what it does. Right? Somebody said, I don't seem to see any result when I run. Once I click on run, you have to select this, right? You have to select this. Continue. So another thing that you can do, I'm looking for maybe let's try and do swap case, right? Swap case, basically what swap case dot is that is swap cases. Lowercase becomes uppercase and uppercase become lowercase. Does that make sense? Lowercase become uppercase and uppercase become lowercase. That's basically what swap case does. So for instance, if I say greeting, I'm just going to copy this again so that we don't waste much time. So if I say greeting here equal, and I'm going to say hello, Olalekan Samuel, how are you today? So if you say swap case equal, right, greetings dot, all you have to do here is to say swap case, right? If I now come here, I will say print this. Now look at what is going to happen. You can see. So all lowercase, right? So all lowercase has become uppercase. All uppercase have become lowercase, right? So there are a lot. Another one that I think we should do, let's look at it, is a split. Okay, I can't find split here, but I think it's there. Maybe it's my there. So if you look at this, the split basically splits the string at the specified separator and returns what? A list, right? So let's say, let me give you an example. Let's say here you say greetings. I'm just going to copy this also. And you say greetings equal hello, Olalekan Samuel. Let's say, comma, I am a Nigerian living in South Africa. Right? Maybe, remember there's another comma here. There's another comma here, right? Let's say I put another comma here. I'm a Nigerian living in South Africa. If I now say splitting equal greetings dot split, you see how easy it is. And I say at every comma split. Remember, it's going to return to you a list, right? I say split using comma and a space as a separator. And here, if I say print splitting, right? You see what happened? You see that it returns a list for you. This one, this is another one, this is another one, this is another one, right? This is another one, right? Now, somebody might say, hey, what is this doctor? What is this Olalika? What is this guy doing? How do I use this thing? Let me give you an example. Let me give you an example where some of these things are useful. And I like to use something that are within the range that you can see. So you work for a government, let's say you work for a government that is tech savvy. I'm using a government because I like I like to dangle more into politics and look at how technology can solve the problem. You'll work for a government that likes to use technology to solve problems, like the West, like the Americans, the UK, the British, and all those things. They monitor everything that is going on, right? And I'm considering maybe that's one of the things that we'll do. They monitor everything that is going on via their Twitter space. They create, it might be a company, it might be an organization, right? I'm just using government as an example. They monitor everything that is going on. They create an hashtag, right? And that hashtag that they create, people are posting under that hashtag. People are posting under the hashtag, right? Everything that people are posting, right? They are then there's what we call web scraping or web scrapper. You write a Python to grab all those texts from Twitter, from Facebook, from LinkedIn, from Instagram, from all those social media. And then you separate them. You determine how you want to separate them, right? This is basically something that a data engineer would do and then formulate all these things into data, into a data set. You see, these have become a list, right? You can create a data set, a data frame out of all these, right? And then you begin to analyze these, maybe using what we call natural language processing or what we call sentiment analysis to be able to get, okay, are we in threat? Or are they talking good about us? Are they talking bad about us? These are some of the things that some of those guys do. Not only government, Facebook uses the same thing. These are how they measure what you like. Whatever you post on Facebook, some of us that like to post, what do you think Facebook is using the data for? You are not just using Facebook for free. Facebook is using that data they analyze whatever you are posting, whatever everybody is posting, and that determines the kind of advertisement they send into your feed. Does that make sense? Because you might be looking at, okay, but you could see that these things are very, very easy to implement, right? That's split. There's another thing I think we call start with. I'm just taking them random because I know some of these things. These are some of the ones that I know offhand. I also don't know these things offhand. You know, I'm not a computer, so don't try to know them offhand. That's why I give you these. And there's another one they call encode, right? The encode, what encode basically does is to encode the string version and give you a coded version of it. Are you with me? So basically, if you look at that, let's try and use the encode. I'm looking for the start with, but I can't see. Okay, I think it's here. Let's do the encode first, and then we do the start with. So if you say, let's just say intro. This is a variable equal this is a right Python training on a Saturday morning, right? And then you say encode equal intro dot encode. That's all, right? And then I say print encode, right? If you run this, you see. So this is basically an encoded version of that. So basically, encode, basically, there are a lot of things that you can put, the ways you want to encode your encoding. You can put the optional encoding string, and also the errors that you can get, right? So I can say txt intro.encode here, and here you say encoding the function, some of the things that it takes. You can say encoding the parameters. You can say, don't worry about the parameters and argument. I'm going to explain how those work when we get into function. When we get into function. So if I say encoding, right? I say here encoding encode. I say encoding equal, let's say you put here, you say ASCII, right? I think it's double high. And then here you say errors, and you say, let's say ignore, for instance, also in quote, ignore, right? So there are different ways in which you can encode. So those are, I also don't know some of them offhand. Let's see. It gives you this. Now, all this encoding, right? You can, let's say, I'm going to say, let's say we say here, right? I'm going to say name replace. Let's say name here, name replace. I think errors also name, let's say name replace. Let's try this. So it's still giving you this. I want to see how, if you say, this is a Python training on a Saturday morning, it's not giving me the coding that I want properly. So, but anyway, that's basically how you do encoding. As we move along, we'll get ones that works. So let's look at the start with method. So basically, start with, right? It's a method that returns true if the string starts with what you specified. Otherwise, it will return false, right? So let's do, I'm just going to close this. I'm going to come here. I'm going to say, I'm just going to say start with. I think it starts with. I'll say greeting dot here, right? Start with. And here, now look at what I want to do. I'm going to say here, I'm going to say, let's say we say hello, right? First, if you look at this, right? So I'm going to say hello, and I'm going to copy this. I'm going to put it here. Of course, you expect false. You know why? Because this is a capital hello. Even if I say capital H, remember Python is case sensitive, right? If I run this again, it's going to give you false. If I say here, right? If I say if I do this, it says is there. right? Now, if I say start with, there's another way you can, if I say here, right? If I say there are some optional parameter that you can put, only the value is required, right? The start, that is, if I put this and I say, let's say I say 7 and I say 10, for instance. So this is called start. This is called end. These two are optional. So this is an integer position. Specify at which position you want to start the search. Are you with me? It specifies which position you want to start performing the search, right? And this is an end which specifies which position you want to end the search. So if I say, if I run this, what happened there? Okay, there's supposed to be a comma here. That's the error. So if I run this, you see, it gives me a false because this LO starts from 0. Remember when we start counting from 0. So this is 0, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, right? Let's say 6, 7, right? 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14. So let's say I say look for Ola at 7 and end at, let's say, 13, right? If I run this, you see, it gives me true, right? But these are optional, right? You might be wondering, what do we use this thing for? We use this thing to search, especially when you are performing real data engineering or data analysis. You know, when you are doing what you call sentiment analysis, for instance, or when you are doing what you call natural language processing, where you want to know what people are thinking based on what they are posting on social media, for instance. That's not only the case, but I'm just using that to give you an example of how some of these things is used. So because of our time, and I still want to do some other thing, I would say let's look into other stuff in Python. An example is most of the things in Python that I will explain, I've already done them for you, but I'm just going to go through them, and later I will go through each and every operation that we can perform. But this is basically 24 minutes past the hour. Let's take a 10 minutes break and we come back after then we can continue. I know I'm a little bit fast, but this is not something that I should be slowed about, because as you can see, it's just one line of code that we are doing from the beginning. So when we come back, I'll be gentle with the next class, right? So we've spoken about various things about string, right? We have what we call string array. So there's what we call string array, right? So basically, strings in Python are more or less like an array of bytes. So string in Python is an array of bytes that is representing a Unicode characters. But most programming languages have what you call character data type, but Python really does not have a character data type. So as a result, in Python, A single character is simply a string array with a length of 1. Are you with me? With a length of 1. So if I say, if I say name equal, that's a single character, right? Remember, I said you can check the length of anything by using the len function, right? So you can come here to say print len, right? Name, right? If you run this, you could see that it gives you 1, right? So you can, if let us assume that we say name is Ademola Olushola, for instance. It doesn't matter how I write it. If I run this now, you'll see the length has been 15, right? If I want to get the elements, you can access the element of this string by exactly the same way we access the element of list, right? So if I say print, if I come here to say print, right? And I say name, and I say 7, right? Look. This actually prints something, but you think it's not printing something. Remember, this is 0, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. The space is actually 7. Are you with me? The white space is 7. If I say print 8, you will see that O will be printed. And as you can see here, I use the square bracket. So you can use the square bracket to access the element of a string. You use the square bracket to access the element of a string. Another thing that you can do is that you can loop through the string. You can loop through the string. I will just show you, but remember, we have not done control flow. Control flow is going to be what we are going to do in the next section, right? But there's something we call for loop. In looping in Python, we only have 2 types of loop: for loop and while loop. Please do not worry yourself too much about it for now. I am going to, when we get to that session, I'm going to unpack it in total, but I don't want to get you confused. So if I say for names in let me say for elements in names, right? Some of you would have understood the meaning of this in. That means it's a membership. Remember, in our section 1, we talked about membership operator, the in and not in, right? So I'm saying for all the elements in name, not names, in name, right? I then put this. You have to put this in all your control flow structure. But we'll get there. And I say print elements. If I run this, you see how it printed them? That's how you print this way. Does that make sense? Now, I've also explained to you that what you can use to check the length, which is the length of a string, right? To check the length of a string, this is what you can use, right? You can check, right, if a certain phrase or a certain letter is present in the string, right? You can check if a certain phrase. So let's say we call it checking string. So you can check. I would have said, give me something, but I'm just going to be putting random. So here, I'm just going to say, text equal, right? I'll say, this is a Python class, and it's conducted in the middle of the night, right? And I can say, to check for anything here, you just use membership operator. What are your membership operator? The in or the not in. So you can say print. Let's say you want to find out whether there's class, right? You say in text. It's going to give you false, obviously, right? It's obviously going to give you false. And by now, you should know why it's going to give you false, right? It's going to give you false because of this. Because this class is in all lowercase, but this starts with capital letter. And remember, Python is case sensitive, right? Say false, right? So if I say class, it's going to say true, right? Another thing that you can do is you can use an if statement. If statement also is part of conditional statement, right? I'm going to, just to say, let's say we want to use, I'm still going to explain that to you, but let's say we want to say do something or tell the user that something is there if this. So you can say, so we've already have this, right? You can say if, let's say class, right, in text. Oops. Don't forget this when you are using conditional flow, but I will still explain that. And I say print the word class is present in the text, right? If I run this, it says the word class is present in the text, right? Let's say I wanted to, after here, I wanted to go to the next line. I'm just going to say /n, right? And here, I wanted to go to next line, I will say /n, like this. You see what happened? Just because I use that /n. /n means it's a command in Python that you can use to go to next line, right? If I want to print everything inside here, but I want them to be multi-lines, this is what I did. That's what I've just done. So I say the word, I can just say Maybe I want to make this capital like this, and I will run this. You can see the word class is present in the text, right? Of course, I'm going to give you as an exercise, go and use, do not worry about the if, the for. We're going to do that in a separate section, right? But you could see that this is more or less like English that we are talking about, right? But what I did here is called control flow or control structure. But we're going to deal with that in the next section. Once we finish the if, the control structure, the functions, and the classes, we are good to go and start building real life projects, right? So you might be wondering, what exactly does this mean also? Let me use this, my use case, which is the sentiment or natural language processing, or the sentiment analysis that we're talking about. So you might be checking that. Let me give you one example. Some of you who understand what is going on in South Africa, you will notice that there used to be a time where they are xenophobic, right? And there are a particular time where some of us were actually contacted and contracted to work for the government to analyze what people are tweeting. I mean, what South Africans are tweeting, and some of the words that you can get from those tweets, and as a result, government will quickly report that tweet or the owner of that tweet. I don't know what they call them, whether it's tweet or something like that, to Twitter so that they can ban them. That is basically what you see when you are on social media. Let's say Facebook, for example. You see, if somebody wants to type on Facebook, instead of you to say violent, I don't even know. I don't even think I know the meaning of. I know the correct spelling of violent anymore now. But on Facebook, you see people who write something like this: violence, right? Violence like this, because Facebook, this is not the correct English, but you are reading this on Facebook, you know what I mean if I type this. But Facebook doesn't understand this because this is not a correct English that Facebook can understand, or that has been defined in the dictionary of, if you see a word like this. So if you want to say, I ate, let's say you wanted to say, I ate the president of Nigeria. Some people, because you don't want Facebook to tag you, because that may be an hate speech. You now write something like this. If you see something like this in whatever somebody posts on Facebook, for instance, right? That is you understand that it is hate, but Facebook or Twitter or any other thing doesn't understand, right? If you see something like kill, Facebook will not understand that this is a kill in the right sense, but you that you are reading, you that you are my audience, you understand this. Does that make sense? So they could look for, if a poster, if user, let's say user is the name of the poster, if user, if kill, that is KILL, in what the user post, right? Instead of saying same print here, you just say activate suspend function, for instance. Inside the suspend function, the logic that will suspend the user must have been there. Or they may say activate suspend dot comment dot category A, for instance. Category A may be you are not able to comment for 2 weeks. Category B might be you are not able to comment for 30 days. Category C might be you are not able to comment for 60 days. So those are some of the rules where some of these things might be useful, right? So you can check the if not, you know what if not means. So if I want, let's look at this now. I'm just going to copy this. let's say you want to check for if not. So I'm going to copy this and I'm going to put this is a coding class, and I say if, right? I'll just say class, right? Here, all you have to say is not in, that's all. And you say print the word class is not present in the text. Now, if you run this, I just want you to keep this at the back of your mind for now. If you run this, nothing is going to happen. You know why? The reason is because class is present. So if I run this, you see nothing is printed. The reason is because class is present, and we say if class is not in, do this, right? But in control flow, we are not in control flow yet. You can say if, let's say, if Kayode Adeshemowo does not come to class, print or tell the user Kayode Adeshemowo did not come to class. But what if Kayode Adeshemowo indeed comes to class? You will have to say, for instance, you now come here and say else. Like I said, do not worry if you don't understand this. This is a control flow. I'm still going to, the next section will be dedicated to control flow, but there's no possibility that we'll finish the string session in one go. So you say this and you say S. I'm just going to say here, just going to copy this and I'm going to say, let's say, I just want to follow, say else, print. Oh, this is a very good example from Brocade. So I'm just going to copy it, and you can also use it. But let me finish this. Then we'll use that, and I'll say please print. Now, if you run this, you see now it prints because of this. Now, also note that we have not done input output example before. I remember at the beginning of the class, I also told you that we're going to do this. That's basically what we're going to do in the next part of the next section, where we're going to do input, output, date, time, and control flow. So here we say enter text to check. So whatever you enter inside your input is basically going to be assigned to the value of text here. So now here it says if text in test, print text in X this. So if I do this, if I say now this is Olalekan Samuel conducting the training. If I run this, you see, right? It said here, this is a Python class and it is conducted in the middle of the class. Where is that coming from? It's like I did this earlier before. I don't know where that is coming from. And I think, where is that? I know I use that, but I don't know why it's giving me that. It's like text. Oh, because I've used this as a variable. There, I've used this as a variable. So inside that text is actually bringing this variable out, because here, let me see, there's the text. You see, I use this as my own variable. That's why it's bringing this as the text. So here, I can input text. I can say in this place, I can say if if, let's say, if, right, I'm just going to say whatever you input, let's say I say Olalekan, sorry, Olalekan in text, instead of me saying text, right? Text, I think it's text. I'll say print, right? I'm now going to say print Olalekan, right? Print the text, the word. I'm just going to bring the word Olalekan, right, appears in the text entered, right? Here, we don't need this anymore, right? And I can say else print. I'm just going to copy this again, just to modify what it gives. And I'm going to, because you use something else as a variable, I say the word Olalekan does not appear in the text entered, right? So if we run this again, right? If we run this again and I say, this is me in the middle of the night, and I press enter, you see, it says the word Olalekan does not appear. Forget about the typographical and the grammatical error. It doesn't really matter at this stage. Does not appear in the text entered because it's not there. So that's basically an example that we can use to check if not. Okay, another thing that we can do in Python, so this is exactly on the hour. It is 2 o'clock in South Africa. So if I need to re-explain the encoding, right? So error is basically the message or the response that you get when your encoding fails, right? And what are those errors? You have what you call, just gonna make this. So we have what you call strict. So you have strict, you have I think ignore, you have backslash replace. Might not get the spelling right, but it's important that we get the spelling right. We have backslash replace. We have what you call XML character, ref replace, right? We have name replace. How many is that? 4. We have name replace, and we have another one, I think, is replace. So quickly, this is a default response, which raises basically a kind of a Unicode decode error, right? It raised a Unicode decode kind of error, this strict. Basically ignores the encodable Unicode from the result. It will just ignore, if there's any error, it will ignore it, right? The backslash basically inserts something, escape sequence, instead of the unencodable. So it's whatever you ask it to insert is what it's going to insert. Now, the XML character ref replace basically insert an XML character reference instead of the unencodable the Unicode that you put. And also the name replace, basically that inserts an escape sequence instead of the error in your Unicode. And the replace basically replace the error with a question mark. So remember, I only take note of some of, I only take some of these things, right? I only take some of these things randomly. And now that I realize that this has various parameters and the Unicode that we need to use, I'm going to look for a proper example and how to actually encode and change the character. But I must warn that we will also, when we get to a particular place, we'll see how some of these things works together. So do not worry too much about that, whether it's giving the correct, I mean the exact word or not. Does that make sense, sir? So let's continue. We're going to try, I'm going to try and do what you call Python slicing. I just want to change this, all right? So this is not too much. I'm just going to call this encoding error. Right? Encoding error responses. Right? Okay, so let's continue here. We're going to talk about string slicing or string slicing, and I'm going to make this a markdown, right? And I'm going to basically so when you have a string, you can perform a lot of operation on them, just like we do on list. You can return a range of character by using what you call the slicing syntax. By using the slicing syntax. So what are the slicing syntax? You can, in your slicing syntax, you can specify, I'm going to make this a comment. So the syntax is that, let me make it a, so you can specify that the start, right? You specify the start of the index and the end of the end, let's say the end index and the start index, right? And the end index, and you separate them, index in the string, and you separate them, with colon. Is it colon or column? I think it's colon. This, right? With colon, right? Now, look at this. This is still a code. You know what? Let me just put this. Let's just put it in the markdown. And I'm going to remove this and this, right? So for example, right? If I say, for example, if you want to get a character or characters, let's say characters from position, let's say position 4 to position 8. right? Now, it will only get from position 4 to position 7. Position 8 will not be included. So let me give you an example. Let's say we say text equal Ademola Olushola Akinshola, right? That's what the user give you. I would have been using input to take the stuff from the user, but because we've not done that, and I don't want to confuse you, so that's why I'm using this for now. So we said text equal that, and I said print, and I come here and I say text, and I open this. Remember, just like we do to list, and I say 4 to 8. Remember, counting starts from 0. So this is 0, 1, 2, 3, 4, right? 5, 6, 7, 8, right? You see what happened? We start from here, right? We are slicing the string. So 0, 1, 1, 2, 3, 4. So you print from 4. This is 4, 5, 6, 7, right? This is 8. You realize, you see, as I said, 8 is not included. But if you look at this, now you see that I highlighted it. You see that there's a space here. It printed up until that space. That space is printed. If I say, let's say I say 4 to 7, it will not print the space. You see that the space is not printed, right? But remember, space is 7 here. If I say 4 to 8, it's going to print up onto space. Let me highlight this. You could see that there's a space there as part of what it printed, right? So that is, we are slicing from a particular position, and you specify the position number from position 4 to position n-1. So if you say position 8, that means 8 minus 1 is going to give you, it's going to stop at position, it's going to stop at position 7, right? It's going to stop at position 7. Now, there is every possibility that you want to start from the beginning. If you want to start from the beginning to a particular position, you do not say from 0. Are you with me? If you want to start from the beginning, if you want to slice from the beginning, so I'm going to say slicing from the beginning. Please do not mind the spelling. You understand what I'm trying to do here. And now, if you want to slice from the beginning, you do not start from 0, even though we start counting from 0, right? You only use this in your square brackets, right? You only use that in your square bracket. Are you with me? You only use that from your square bracket and to where you are going, right? To where you are going. So if I say, I'm going to then print this. I'm going to take this as an example. I'm going to copy this. I'm going to run this. I'm going to come here and here. If I say from here to the beginning, I mean to 8, right? Look at what is going to happen. If you highlight this thing, you realize that the space is there. You could see the space is there. But if I don't want the space to be there, right? I'm just going to say 7. But you remember, sometimes you don't know. Maybe it's the input that they give to you. If I run this, it's still going to give me that, right? Let's say you want to start from 8 to the end. What do? Slicing to the end. So I'm just going to copy this. I'm just going to copy this, Control C, and I'm going to put it here, and I'm going to make this a markdown, right? And I'm going to say slicing to the end, right? So what do? If you want, let's say you want to start from 8, for instance, to the end. All you've got to do is to start from the position you want to start, and then this, and that's all. Right? And that's all. So now to start from the position you want to start, and then that to the end. So I'm going to copy this. I'm going to copy this, and I'm going to put it here. And I'm going to say here from, let's say I say 8, and I'm going to delete this. Right? So that's basically will assist me to start from the particular position up until the end. If I run this, you see what happened, right? So there's basically what we call negative indexing. There's what we call negative indexing. So you use negative indexing to start your slicing from the end of the string. You use negative indexing right, or slicing. So you use negative indexing to slice the string from the end of the string, from the end, that is, you're slicing backward. Are you with me? It means you are slicing backward, right? So let's say I'm still going to take the same word, and I'm going to do this, equal this, and I'll say print, and I'll say text, right? Let's say you say, look at this. I'm just doing random, not that I know what I want to do. If I want to be saying do this and do this, is going to be, we're going to be wasting time. I have to say -1, because when you start counting, when you are counting from backward, you don't count from 0. That's also important for me to tell you. When you are counting backward, you don't count from 0. You start counting from -1. Are you with me? You start counting from -1. And as I was saying, if I wanted to say, let's remove this and let's remove this, right? It's going to be wasting our time. So I'm just going to be putting some random numbers. When you are practicing on your own, you can then count what you want to remove and then remove it. So here, I just say, let's say we say -5 up to -2. If I run this, I don't know what this will give. Remember, but we're not interested in a particular, or what do we call it, accuracy of what we are doing here. Whatever it gives us, it's basically the answer. So you see, so when I count from there, so this is basically -1, -2, right? That's why -3, -4, -5. That's why it gives us this so or something like that. So you just play around with some of those things. Another thing that I want us to look at is what we have done before, string concatenation. We've been doing that for a very long time. So, and I've told you how you can do string concatenation, and I'm not going to spend too much time on it. You know that for you to concatenate string concatenation, right? So you know that for you to concatenate, there are things that you can use. You can use it. You can use plus to concatenate. You can use comma to concatenate. And I've explained, if you follow this class from the beginning, I've explained the downside of each of these for you. And you cannot use the positive sign to concatenate numbers. It will amount to you performing addition, right? You can use comma. When you use positive sign to perform concatenation, it also amounts into more work for you, right? Than using a comma. For instance, let's say I now say. So let's say I say here, I say, okay, great. Let's say I say name equal Adeyemi Olukayode, and I say greetings, right, equal hello, right? And I say hello. Here, I want to concatenate. I can say, let me see here and say greeting, and here, and I say greeting equal, right? Name, I can use plus greetings. Let's say greetings, because those are two variables. I can say name equal greetings equal name plus greeting. Now look at what it's going to give to us. Right? Okay, let me see. We need to print it before you can see it. So I can say print greetings. You see here, it says apparently I wanted to say greetings plus name to make that English look normal. Greeting plus name, right? If I run this, you see hello Adeyemi Oluka. The reason why we have space here is because that's how we define it in the variable. But look here, right? If I want to make sure that there's a space here, I have to concatenate again. I have to say hello plus this space, and I say again plus, and I say plus again. Only then it gives me that, and like I said before, you don't want to make your code to look long, to look verbose before people can know. The concept that we use nowadays is the concept of keys, which is keep it short and simple. Now, I'm going to come here. The very best way for me, instead of me to write all these, I'm just going to do, you see, these are about 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, about 8 characters that I'm wasting there. And the more the code the characters in your code, when you eventually package your application, that determines the more or the bigger your application is going to look like. We want, nowadays, everybody is trying to minimize the the space. So instead of that, I'm just going to come here and I'll say greeting, comma, name. Right? So if I run this, you see what happened. But basically, if I want to run this inside here, I'm just going to do the printing directly. Right? So if I say here, print, I'm now going to say greeting, comma, and I'll say name. We don't necessarily need this. Right? If you look at this, you see very, very short. That is basically how you perform concatenation. But where plus is useful, I don't really think there's any place. Let me not go that far. There's no really much place where it's useful, right? Okay, so let's look at this. Let's look at what you call string formatting, right? Now, earlier I said we cannot compare string. Let me come here and make this a markdown. I will say string is the last part. Formatting. Right. Look at this. So you cannot combine strings and number together. Remember, let's say you say here, let's say we say number equal 65. Let's say we say let me use, let's say we say age equal 65. Let's now say, doesn't matter. Let's now say we say name, right? Let's now say name. Excuse me, guys. Okay, so let's now say name equal, you say hello, right? My name, let's call it greeting. Doesn't matter how those are variables. So we say my name is Olaliko. And then you say here plus age, right? Here, let's say we say print greeting. You see, it gives us an error. That was intentional. That's the purpose. That's what I want to teach. So if you look at here, right, we cannot combine strings and number together using plus. You can only combine string and string together. But we can combine string and number together using what we call format method of your string. Using what you call format method. Are you with me? The format basically takes an argument and then format it and place them in the string where we have placeholder. An example of placeholder is this. An example of the placeholder is something like this. We call it placeholder. Let me give you an example. Let's say here, let's come back and I come here to say, I'm going to copy this, right? I'll copy this, I'll put it there, and I'll say, my name is this. And here, my name is this, and I am this. We don't need this anymore. Right? We don't need this anymore. Now, look at this. If I then say here, print greeting, I'll now say dot format. I'm now going to put age there. You see this age, right? You see this age is going to be printed. Are you with me? That age will be printed into that. So if I then run this, you see, and I am 65. That 65 only comes here. Does that make sense? Because that format method places this inside here. Right? Now, another way in which, let's say you say, I'm looking for, let's say you say, okay, let me not take the input for now. Let's say you say input. Actually, you've known how to use. Let's say you say first num equal, you say input. You know what that means. So I'm going to convert it. I'm going to say int. That's why I don't want to teach it now, but I'll teach input later. We say input, and I say enter input text string. Input text string as an argument. Enter first number. And I'm going to do this, and I'm going to take it off like this. All right. So whatever the user enter here must be an integer. Input takes only integer, but because we want it to be, only string, that's the parameters that it takes, the argument. But because we want to convert that text into number, that's why we put input. If I want to take decimal, I'll say float. But for now, let's just stay on int because we are talking about input for now. So I'm going to copy this. Remember, whatever the user entered, the value will be assigned to first number for first number. So I'm going to copy this and I'm going to say this. I'm going to say this. So I'm just going to call this second num. I'm going to call this third num. These are just variables. Remember, you can give it any name, but just make sure they are meaningful. And here, now look at this. I want to, so now let's look at this. I will now say, let's say we say multiply. I'm just thinking from my head. Multiply equal, let's say we say first num, multiply by second num, multiply by third num, right? That's the value of multiply, right? Now, I wanted to print here. I wanted to print the value. Print, right? I wanted to print and say, I wanted to print and say the value of the value of, let me say, I say multiply, will I do this? I don't want to say the value of, now look at this. I don't want to say the value of, I'll say concatenate, multiply, right? I'll say again, concatenate is, right? I'll say again like this, right? Multiply. You see, it's going to be a challenge to put all these things together. And if I put this inside a code, if I put it inside a code, it will take it. Right? So what do? I can now come here to say the value, I put everything inside the text. I put everything inside the text, and I'll say the value of multiply is, I'll put the placeholder there, still inside the code. Python automatically knows that that placeholder is for a particular variable, but you have not told me what variable is it supposed to be. So, and I'll say, and the value of first norm is, I'll do this again, and let me just copy this to save time, and I'll say the value, right, and the value of second norm is, but this thing on my screen is going down, right, on my screen. It might be doing the same on your screen. Your screen might be more bigger than mine, or in terms of resolution might have more space. But because it's going down, I mean, it's going to the extreme, I don't want it to, I can just press enter here and I'll still continue, right? It will still fine. I'll press enter there, it will fine. It will be fine. So, and I'll say, and, where is it? Let me check where I was here. I want to see if I'm correct. Is, and I'll come here and say here, and the value, so that enter that I pressed there, okay, let's continue. And the value of third norm, right? So because I'm using this, it doesn't want to take that enter that I pressed there. So it's fine. I'm just going to go back there. And the value of third norm, right? I'll say is that. And at here, at this place, I'll now say dot format, just like we did here. Now, we just passed this age there. Remember, we only passed this age there. Dot format will all pass. Now, whatever we put in front, we take this place. Whatever we put next, we take this place. It is in that order. Are you with me? Because I want multiply to be in first, I will say multiply. Multiply. Right? Dot format, I will say multiply, comma, first norm. I'll say second norm, and I will say third norm. If I run this, I'm likely to get error. The error is understandable because it said end of line while scanning string literal. So to make things easy for me, I'm just going to go back when is this thing that it was talking about. So I'm going to make this, I'm just going to press delete to make it back this way. Yeah. So it should be fine now when we run it because it's on the one line. So it's still the same thing. The value of multiply is this, and the value of first norm is this, and the value of second norm is this, right? So I'm going to, this is basically where the error comes from. and the value of third num is this, and I'll say after this quote, I'll say dot format, right? And I'll say that. Does that make sense? So if you look at this, if you then run this, you then realize that it will ask you. So if I run this, enter the first number, I say 45. Enter the second number, I say 56. Enter the third number. Here, forget about the error or remember I copy all these. Here, where is it? I'm just going to here, instead of say first, second, I'm going to say second here. I'm supposed to change this to second. I'm supposed to change this to third. Right? So I'm going to interrupt the keyboard, right? And I'm going to run it again. So here, enter the first number. If I say 34, enter the second number, I say 45. Enter the third number, I say 75. You see, it says the value of multiply, which is this value after it has, right? And the value of first num is 34. And the value of second num is 45. And the value of third num is 75. You see that it puts their value in the place order as they appear here. Multiply first. Look, if I put first num first, that's what it's going to give you. And so you have to make sure that the order is followed. Right? You have to make sure that the order is followed. That is one way of doing it. Right? That is one way of doing it. Another way of doing this that makes life easy is to then say, you see, this is too long. This is too long, right? I'm now going to say print. I'm going to copy this. I'm going to copy the whole of this, right? I'm going to comment this out. We're going to comment this out. I'm going to comment this out. And I'm going to come here. I'm going to say print. And I'm going to, inside here, you don't want to say dot format. There's another thing that you can use. You just say F, that's all. You just put F in front. Are you with me? You put F in front and you start your code this way. And you say, I'm now going to copy this. The value of multiply is this, and the value of this is this, up until I get into here, right? I'm going to copy this. I don't want to use this format. You see, this long one. And I'll copy this. I'll put it inside here, right? And inside here, I'm just going to say multiply. I'll put multiply here. Multiply. You must get the multiply, the variable. And of course, you know what will be here. Here will be first num. Here will be second num and third num, right? Second num and third num. Just, you see, I didn't say dot format. I didn't say dot this. And I put everything inside quote. I just put F in front of them. Right? So when you run this, look, when you say first number, you say 67, right? You say second number, you say 35. I'm just giving random number. You can also give random. You don't have to give the same number as I'm giving. Third number, 56. You see what happened? It's 35. I think I'm not giving a space where under the, and the value of second num, yeah, there must be a space here. right? Somebody is saying something. Num input enter first num multiply f num. Oh, I don't even know. Yeah, somebody. Okay, okay, cool. Giving us another way that we can do it, which is basically the other way. So there are different ways in which you can do that string formatting, right? Okay, so that is basically another one. There are different stuff that you can do as we move along, right? We will continue to do any other string operation that I remember. But for now, those are the most important ones. I think you have actually enjoy a 3 hours of rigorous training, guys. In that case, I will want to say